The Light Seer Tarot and the Good Karma Tarot are both decks that I recommend for beginner tarot readers all the time. But today I'm gonna put them head to head to see which one is the best in the battle of the beginner decks. Both the Light Seer Tarot and the Good Karma Tarot have modern imagery with bold colors. Let me show you what I mean. You can see that there's a very big difference in the art style, but both of these have very bright and bold colors. And I think between these two, the Light Seers definitely gets more love here in the tarot community than the Good Karma Tarot. But at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you my personal preference and who, in my opinion, wins the battle. But yeah, you can see that both these have modern imagery. What I really like is that they both are based on the original RWS meanings, but they depict the meaning in a different way. Where you can, in both of these decks and actually in both of these images, you can see that you can really place yourself in these cards and in these scenes to understand what the card means and what the card is trying to say in a reading. Of course, it totally depends on your own preference and what you like and what you think is pretty and what you don't think is pretty. I personally like the imagery of both of these, and both of these decks I personally cannot get enough of whenever I look through these cards to look at the images. So let's compare the actual production of the decks. The Light Seer Tarot comes in a sturdy box like this. I really like this box. I store it in this box because the cards and the guidebook both fit in perfectly. The cards are standard tarot size. The cardstock, some people don't like Hay House cardstock. I personally don't mind it. It is matte. It does have a little bit of a, as you can see, like a little bit of a sheen, so it's not super matte. It's glidey. It's super easy to shuffle this deck. So let me show you. As well as the overhand shuffles, also really, really easy. And the guidebook is geared towards beginners as well. If you want to take a look at the card interpretations, we have, for every card, we have the upright meanings, reverse meanings, as well as an interpretation and like a quote. So there's a lot of information here in the guidebook to get started with reading the tarot. There are some tarot spreads with, if you know me, you know that I love a good tarot spread. And it has some information on connecting to the cards and tarot basics as well. So this together as a little kit, I think is really, really great for beginner tarot readers. The Good Karma Tarot comes in a really big box here that I personally think is very inconvenient. It doesn't have any thumb cutouts here, so it's oftentimes kind of hard to open it. And originally there is this plastic thing in it where I have to divide my deck into 2 equal sections to put it in here, which is a really, really inconvenient packaging. And that is why I keep my Good Karma Tarot in a bag that I made myself. I think the guidebook is really, really good. For every major arcana, we have the card on one side and then an interpretation and a story and everything on the other side. And for the minor arcana, we have the card and the explanation on one page. The guidebook has an introduction to reading with tarot, getting started with tarot, and then in the back it has some tips on getting started as well as some tarot spreads. Again, I love a good tarot spread. The cards themselves are pretty glossy, as you can see. There's a reflection in my ring light. These cards definitely feel sturdier than the Light Seer Tarot does, but it still has a really great shuffle. These cards are bigger than standard tarot size. To compare these ones, Good Karma is a bit wider. And personally, to me, the yellow backs give a lot of life to this deck as well. So both of these decks have great guidebooks. So they are both very usable for beginner readers. You don't need to purchase another tarot book. You can just use a guidebook that the deck comes with. Now, where both of these decks really shine is how they are put together, or how the images, how the art is put together, because they both stray away a bit from the original RWS imagery. And with both of these decks, you have to use your intuition to work with them. However, I will say that I think if you are a total beginner and you are not familiar with using your intuition to interpret card meanings, to interpret art, then I think the Good Karma Tarot is better for you, because the Light Seer Tarot definitely stirs up your intuition a little bit more than the Good Karma. I think with the Good Karma, it is a little bit easier to see what's going on. And with the Good Karma, I really, really like the court cards. I feel like when you look at the Queen of Swords here, you can definitely get a feel of what type of person this is, what type of energy she has. Same with the Queen of Coins, the King of Swords. Look at this Knight of Cups. I feel like it's very clear to see what their energy is as well. The Knight of Coins. And one of my favorite examples here is the Page of Wands, because it's very clear from this imagery what the Page of Wands energy is. It's experimental, it's a little bit careless, but fun and enthusiastic nonetheless. And the reason that I'm showing you all of these court cards in the Good Karma Tarot is because I just think that they are very well done. And what you can also notice when going through the cards is that whenever there are is like an individual picture, then usually you will see them pretty up close. So it's more of a portrait of some sorts, and you can really get to know sort of the figure and really get to know what they are feeling, what they're going through, what their energy is. And I just really, really like that about this deck. Now with the Light Seer Tarot, I feel like it does take a little bit more effort to truly read these cards. Like, this is super pretty, but it doesn't show me the meaning of the Queen of Cups as easily as the Light Seers does, or as the Good Karma does. But there are a lot of cards here that are very easy. Like, you see this person being attacked or whatever, it attacks, I think, with these wands, but they're here in their safe bubble. And then when you are like more ready to interpret more symbols, then you can focus on whatever chakra is highlighted here and more parts about the card. But I will say that within the Light Seer Tarot, there are more cards, in my opinion, that are a little bit harder to decipher as a beginner. But again, that is really totally your own experience and preference, I guess. There are also a couple of cards in this deck that I think are hit really hard and that are really powerful when it comes to the interpretation of the card. I really like this Five of Cups, where you can see that she is totally lost here in the moment and in what she's feeling and what she's going through. I think this Page of Swords is really, really powerful, where it is so clear what the meaning of this card is, where the Page of Swords is reading a book and she's holding all these light bulbs as if it's like a little bit of a light bulb moment or idea generation based on what she's reading, like being very inspired. This is probably one of my favorite Queen of Pentacles because I just love how calm she is. But she also seems like she's abundant, not just in materials, because she's like wearing her bright eyeshadow and she is I think very well dressed, but also just in nature. I love this card. This is the example that I wanted to show you. This to me is so powerful, one of the most powerful cards in the Light Seer Tarot, because she is not bounded, or let's say they are not bounded here in real life, but when they're looking in the mirror, they see all these obstacles when they're looking at themselves. But there are no obstacles, or the obstacles that they have are mostly in their head, which makes a lot of sense for the suit of Swords, which is air, mental capacity, mental ability, just being in your head, thoughts, all that stuff. Now, there are also a couple of cards that I don't like. Two examples here are the Page of Cups. I don't like this, that the legs are coming out there and that there's this flying pig here. I never even noticed this flying pig, but one of my friends pointed out to me, and now I can't unsee it, and I don't like it. And I also am not a super fan of the devil. Sometimes I'll go back and forth on this card because there's also this puppet mastery thing, but overall I don't love it. So let me put this one back on top. So overall, which one you should get totally depends on, first of all, your own capabilities when it comes to tarot reading. If you feel like you are a very intuitive reader and that is very easy for you, then I think the Light Seers Tarot is more appropriate for you, or you would benefit more from the Light Seers than the Good Karma. But if you are more of a beginner reader that is very new to reading the tarot and could benefit from some more subtle imagery, where especially the court cards I think are depicted very clearly, and that you want a deck where you can pull out a card and you just sort of understand what it means, then I think the Good Karma is better for you. Click the link on the screen right now to see what mass market decks I recommend for you. Subscribe for more tarot chats and all that fun stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.